At the snap of a finger, the entire NBA was hit with a wave of efficiency. Steph Curry's small ball warriors led the three-point revolution, while players like Carmelo Anthony were slowly phased out. The timing could not have been worse for Melo. He was traded to OKC in the midst of a breakup with his wife Lala and separated from his only son. Melo's personal life quickly spiraled downwards, and his game followed suit. I'm not talking Nuggets Melo, or Hoodie Melo, or even Olympic Melo, just Melo. Carmelo Anthony has had many iterations, but it appears as though his time being a legitimate NBA superstar is over at the age of 34. Now, what in the name of volume shooting happened? As do all stories, it starts with Carmelo's rise. The cornrowed 18-year-old that carried Syracuse to a national championship victory in 2003 was excellent. A popular, fun, and promising player the entire country enjoyed.
With the third pick in the 2003 NBA draft, the Denver Nuggets select Carmelo Anthony from Syracuse University.
After infamously being drafted behind NBA champs LeBron James and Darko Milicic, Melo lifted the Nuggets into playoff contention in a relatively short matter of time, presumably setting the franchise on the fast track to an NBA Finals. Unfortunately for both the Nuggets and Melo's career, he had his eyes fixated on a city so nice they named it twice, as well as the wayward franchise that calls it home, the New York Knicks. Melo was mostly good in New York, but due to circumstances, some of which self-inflicted, eating up a max deal, he never made it past the second round in 7 seasons. In fact, the most iconic moment of Melo's tenure in New York might actually belong to Jeremy Lin, as the loudest narrative from that era of Knicks basketball has nothing to do with Melo, but everything to do with LINSANITY, which is obviously another story for another time. What was weird about this time, especially during the end of his stay with the Knicks, was the birth of both Hoodie and Olympic Melo. 2 ideal iterations of Melo that would never grace the NBA hardwood.
We came together and said we was going to do this as one. It's not about one individual, and we showed that and we proved that.
Olympic Melo was the more team-friendly version of Carmelo. He chose playmaking over shot-taking, and even played defense. However, Olympic Melo was never a realistic option in New York, as this version of Melo only worked when playing alongside other guys of his stature, not, this guy. As for Hoodie Melo, he was rooted within the real Carmelo Anthony, a fearless workhorse who was closer to an NBA Jam heat check than a real NBA player. Since then, Melo's bright lights have dimmed down. New York traded him to a good Thunder team with championship aspirations, and he was objectively awful, an abomination of the basketball senses. The franchise hastily gave up on Melo being the third wheel to Paul George and Russell Westbrook, showing him the door after only 1 season. Let's not forget about the horror movie-like run Melo had in Houston, which can be summed up rather quickly. You ready? No, really, are you ready? Okay. Melo joined the Rockets after the franchise let several key 3-and-D players go. He hadn't shown an inkling of defensive awareness, or effort for that matter, since the 2016 Olympics. Nor was he a competent three-point shooter. The Rockets literally paid him to stay away from the team, and ultimately traded him to Chicago. Melo played only 10 games as a Rocket. No NBA team, not even his bestie, LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers, have bothered to give him a call. It's as if he's riddled with a contagious disease. It's been a brutal downfall. Then again, it shouldn't be shocking that an aging player is declining in skill. Father Time is undefeated and all that fancy jazz. Still, it feels important to note Melo was once a top 10 player. Here's to hoping regular citizen Melo fares better than the versions we've seen trot about the NBA for well over a decade, because, unfortunately, it appears as though Melo's days of operating as an NBA superstar have been over for a long time now. But legacy is not about stats, or even longevity. It's all about how we perceive a player. Melo's exit was far less graceful than, say, Kobe's or Dwayne Wade's. So we ask you, what do you think of when we say Carmelo Anthony's name?